mean that they move into the grand final. So the stakes for both of them are as high as they can get into the second map, and they are playing the double duelists. They're playing exactly the same comp as when they went into the grand final against KRÜ, and I'm not really surprised. This was actually a really good map for them, even if they were not able to get that win. There was a little asterisk into the grand final, is that there were some issues as well where they were not 100% comfortable on stage. Then they had to play the last two maps in a different day, so it feels like now that they're comfortable, that they're confident as well, and this is their map pick, this should be the side of Akave on their side to win.
Yeah, now just one map away from finding themselves in the finals for tomorrow, to find themselves one step closer to making it to the championships. It's time to close out now. Try and close out now to see if they can on Sunset. Back over to your casters, Van Silly and Lemon Kiwi, to find out.
Thank you, Sierra. Yeah, if Wada do not have an answer, the sun will set for sure on LCQ and their hopes of getting to GCC. And Akave really stepped up when Wada were heating up in that first half of buy-in, Vance.
Definitely. And then Wada looked like they had some sort of fighting chances with, as mentioned on the desk, these clutches coming out now from Astralis. This time around now for Akave, you had so much coming on from both the supporting cast of Dano and Ivy, who now switches out to playing the duelist to help out in his double duelist role with Wyatt to open up here on Sunset, as Starbound almost got contact, did get a body shot onto Ivy as they were trying to scale up on mid.
Juna gets checked too, and Tasty has been such a good independent player who we just saw on the Waylay and now on the Sentinel, the Cypher. They can be so trustworthy to kind of handle business on their own, having one of the highest KD and ACS in the LATAM side. So Akave have a lot of firepower, and they're showing it with how they were winning both pistols on Vine. They're hoping to do the same thing with a good opener here on Sunset, but the paranoia pierces right through. The timing was huge, and PowerPixel is able to even up those numbers.
And at least Starbound solo over on this B side. Here is the exit on B. Tries to go for a pick to maybe get one before it forces the TP back, but unfortunately just got punished, and that gives a huge window for Akave to just hop in and take this pistol round away from Wada.
Now Wada will have to come through market. Frenzy. Adora knows there's a death match ahead of them. Now trying to stun and kind of hits themselves, and gotta lock in, Wada. You see, they're feeling the pressure on the stage, but the nerves are gone. And so is Adora. But time is running out too. Akave just keeping their distance as Wada have to round the corner. And they've already been revealed from, of course, late util from Dano. Another Akave pistol goes their way.
And losing Juna very first on the lurk from Tasty, who switches out from Duelist to Sentinel in this round, was really the pain point to kick things off for Wada. You've lost so much space, the stall that you have from the wall and the Razor Vines. Why peek out here if you still have a wall that allows for you to get early information and the actual execute into the site? So she gets punished out of that one, and it allows Akave to start pulling out this push and pull, the fake towards the A side, pivot back towards B. And then unfortunately just not enough. You needed that pick to come through from Starbound. And when they lose sight, they lose control, they lose the pistol.
Akave's map pool is quite wide, so they're able to force maps that are weaknesses to others and bringing us to Sunset instead of Lotus, which is at least Akave's more played map. You don't want to go to a three-sider against Starbound, especially with how it started out this series. A first blood, make it second for Akave. This is ready to storm the backline of Wada as Adora goes hunting. Akave still have the ball in their court, especially with the spike going down, and Wada at least are trying to double up, play together, and there's a bit of a split because of that nade from Ivy. And that's really all she wrote, and 4 guns into the bonus.
This is where it starts getting important, and where the coaching staff between King Fred and I think Jerk as the coach, ex-Winthrop University player, joining in with them to help out the team. If I've been studying right now the Sunset for the last 2 times for Akave, they've been on one matchup against KRÜ, just consistently trying to hit the A site, but in their regional finals, they were consistently hitting towards B. So when it comes down to these full exits on the side of Akave, there should be something from the tape that they could learn here from the side of Wada to stop these type of huge plays. You can already see here with the way that you're trying to scale from Akave on the A site. We'll talk about it for a bit because they're not pressuring over on that side. They're faking here towards A first to get ore control and get Ivy very close to the ulti. But the important position right now is Starbound in front of A, so they could try to stuff the info and the util that's going to be pressed by Akave when they're going to try to rescale up here towards this A site.
Yeah, just to grab orb and play with their food, and especially kind of mark that the Vice is going to be on the left side of the map, but Starbound on the approach. Target-rich environment. Tried to tag through the wall. I like the idea, but now they have a window. They got to absorb that space while Starbound teleports out, who is now on an island, smoked off from their teammates, and gets a tag, and now can't adjust. Wait, the pistol comes out, roars through a second, and Akave have to throw everything but the kitchen sink, and the chamber has still not fallen. Akave really thought they had the opportunity, and Wada, show them how it's done.
And look at Starbound's HP after that round as well. They barely got damaged from the full sighting sec coming in here for Akave. So the first thing that I want to praise Akave for, though, was when I was watching that tape of how they scale up on that A site, there was so much utility missing on that left side when you're trying to scale up towards elbow. So playing against a chamber like Starbound could give what it does such a huge advantage to get Starbound into a first shot. But how they scaled that this time around was boom butting towards the front and also eyeing on the left side window. So you get the full scale of that left side that was left as a gap in their last matches. And I love that they fixed that going into this one here. Just unfortunately couldn't get into the site against Wada as well.
Look at the support Starbound has now, but at least the showstopper gets a last hurrah. And now Akave think that they could just chase down, take the space faster. That's how they could play against the chamber. At least for now, it's just Akave with the orb, and after losing Ivy, we'll scale back towards where Tasty's leaning.
That was a nice attempt. I'm pretty sure Dono tried to throw a Seize in there, and it actually caught two of them, so showstopper to Seize would have gotten some huge damage, but thankfully, for the side of Wada, they were only able to lose. They only lost one player in the process and got the instant trade. So you're pivoting players towards this B site, and it's open.
Wow. Double kill from Dono, who I think has been so crucial for this team, so comfortable on the Sova, the Fade, other initiators. It's just been amazing for this team, and look how they all come together. And this is that same early good start from Bind, but gotta watch out for Wada on lower buys, on thrifties, especially after a timeout. There's like a light bulb that turns on. That's how Wada was able to tie the game after starting off basically 0-5.
It's a nice scale. So look at that coming forward here, and then they seize back on the other end. Okay, so it looks like it was a hunt instead that spotted two players on the defensive side. But these openers right there were huge from Dono, and that was because we had a TP in the back of the site at Boba from Live that forced some players to turn around, and Dono found that timing, took them both down, and how's your Akave to get the plant, putting Wada into an eco, into some sort of a half buy into the next. So Headhunter walking down, Guardian in the front.
Oh, the timing of throwing that Haunt up too, and that's again a rifle that Wada can recover. I like that they're trying to take fights close so they can kind of pressure back Akave and get much needed upgrades like Juno with this Vandal. Power Pixel 8-2 will have a Nightfall and can kind of unleash that through the front lines and have Wada wrap around, especially where this flash is set up from Juna. Akave wanted to fight through main. This would be the place to do it. And there is that Nightfall as Wada were hoping to crunch down on it. Now they all have to funnel in, and Ivy is sectioned off from the rest. Still within the smoke. Gets away with a kill before traded. And all that matters is that Wada are yet again pulling off a lower buy, especially with the bait and switch there. How do they keep getting away with this?
This is the difficult part too when you're an Akave fan on this map. Yes, the util sometimes is actually quite good in how they're able to scale up on these sides, but when it comes down to mid-round or adapting or reacting to whatever they're seeing, they unload all of their utility. So that walk down from Juna down towards lower mid, what did that bait out? A Paranoia, double Yoru flash, I think a Haunt on top of that. once you finally get into a B site, first off, you're lucky that nobody's inside the B site because there's no util to clear out the area. So usually you could get picked off by Starbound again into B. But if not, post plant, you have no util to stall either. Now you have to play the buddy system against a full-fledged retake util capability from Wada. It just makes it very difficult for you to get these post plant scenarios in your favor. So they have to be a little bit better in conserving some of that util to keep players at bay. Unless, if they want to use util, you got to react after it and fight with it.
Like that Juna, it's not at all hiding her presence. Wants that fight. Wants them to use util. Had the flash around the corner too if Akave were to throw anything that would destabilize Juna too much, but the wall will still hold. And Starbound's in the picture too, and you have this double up, and Akave just wanted the orb.
And thankfully, at least, they saw the Nightfall for Dano. So you just saw what just happened. Double Prowlers to get no value into the B side and Haunt too. So now you're waiting for the next refresh of the Haunt coming back and then Nightfall into the A site. That's the second layer you're trying to move forward here with Akave.
There's the Nightfall, but the paranoia from Wada kind of forces this offense into submission. They're hesitating. You can't go in blind. And the Boombot doesn't even tuck into elbow, so that's yet another thing that Akave has to clear through. At least with the smoke that they intentionally placed, they wanted to keep Adora anchored and ingrained on this site. No, the paranoia is gone, so Akave have to take advantage of this moment. Throw a paranoia of their own. Tura and Lied work together. And Wada fumble as they were stuck all together as Starbound repositions. It's still the final boss. 6 seconds denies the spike plant, and Akave are scrambling to get kills. But this round is over at the last second, and Wada get away with murder.
And that's twice right now when they're getting when they're flooding into the A site. That Power Pixel throws a beautiful seize into the site. This time getting even more value into B because you're preventing players from getting even that spike with less than 4 seconds left in a round. You can't even get the plant down. So big respect for Starbound to walk through and for them to get these 2 picks. Aggressively walking down, getting the spike planter attempted by Akave, getting that denied. And gives Wada back into a stronghold of their defensive side. Again, once the money is correct for the side of Wada, they've been doing quite good on buying. This time, it seems as though they have the firepower to stall here the Akave hits.
Now you force the teleport out. Wada completely smoked off the site. The Akave are still trying to regroup after the Vice Wall was triggered. Now Dimensional Drift. It's going to make its way through Market. Spot that triple push. Nothing in mid, but this could be a good crunch. And Lied has the shotgun, but Wada were aware, so Lied will have to come up with something better. But Wada just have the better weapons, just stingers mostly from Akave. We're just sitting ducks, and now looking like dead ones with the way Wada are just poking and prodding at these corpses to just now get the lead.
A little bit of a funny scenario there, though, because yes, you're able to get a lot of information for Lied. You've already spotted 3 players in the market. You're trying to go for a surprise play with the Bucky. And then once they get outside towards middle, well, Juna just closes the door, so you can't even get through. So you have to re-wrap towards that front B site, which doesn't allow for you to get any value into your post plants. You're so far away and retreated from the action that right now it's just easy picks for Power Pixel A. Who's really swinging out? Look at these sprays. First off, so many bullets missing, but then nobody's swinging out to punish Power Pixel A, so it just allows here Wada to retake that site the way that he did against the anti-eco. So fairly clean towards the end. And fighting back now for control on A main as Starbound moving down with the operator in that tight gap.
Not ready yet.
More even buy between these 2 teams too, as Akave want to match that pace. Oh god, the Steel Garden activated from Juna. We're hearing the commotion that Akave were causing here at B as they cut all noise and kind of see what Tasty can find here in mid with the camera.
And this is a great stall because the wall didn't get procced yet. Lied tried to bring the clone out to break it. It gets shot down right away by Juna. Now you have to rethink somewhere else because you can't really enter the B site. So now they're going to walk to try to find information towards A. They're going to try to insert players. Both flashes have been used, but you're still walking into the operator being placed here by Starbound. So kind of both extremities are on lock. They have a trademark watching top mid as well, and Akave will just have to gamble to re-hit towards B.
Akave would have really liked to punish Juna, and this time it's Juna doing the punishing. Akave without Dono, that's really tough. At least Tasty's lurk is cutting off rotations and splitting the focus of Wada. We're okay to leave Juna on her own. Finally meeting her potential too after getting scouted as such a young player and has built so much confidence. And now by the side of Adora, who's integrating quite well. But still so much demanded of this duelist, so much demanded of Starbound, and she'll deliver. 7 seconds left. This is just a nightmare yet again for Akave, who just can't get the spike down because Starbound will not allow it.
And how difficult is that for Akave to get map control when you can't bait out any type of that util in the very beginning? So, or you're trying to use util to open up towards that site, very well denied by Juna. Or you're getting pushed down by Wada, and then you're utilizing all of your util in the first place. You got nothing left to work into the mid round. But that was just a beautiful anchoring play by Juna from Wada and for Starbound on the other side. We talked about the responsibility that Wada will have to have with this operator on that A site. The gaps that you could find with the lack of util utilized by Akave to scale up towards A gives an advantage for Wada to get these picks. But you have to land these shots for Starbound, and at least they are. They've been hot off the press, at least from that first map. Some shots were clean, some shots were missing, but at least there's way more consistency from what I've seen so far with the operator from Starbound the second map.
I have no doubt Wada can carry the wind in their sails and make this a good first half. But if Wada don't win pistols, Akave are just always going to be that close to winning the map. And they actually did on map 1 off of a lot of the buffering from the first couple of rounds of the second half. So Wada really got to make sure that on their attack coming up, that they really settle in and ride off of this hype.
Right now, we haven't really seen the side of Akave go for these early mid control on their end. They're really putting up a lot of extremities, which makes sense, especially on this B site. You're playing against a Vice instead of a Cypher. There's no early cam that comes through. If it's not for an operator, then they could safely move into the B site, punish the front B, and also get orbs. So they probably want to try to get this up for Ivy as soon as possible.
No way! Juna even spots the Yoru! Dono can't react in time! And at least Ivy, the sheriff, shows him who's boss. But that was such a fun play from Juna, too. It gets completely unchecked, and that's just another layer that Akave have to get through. I don't even know if they know the op is there, too.
That's the strength of conditioning that Wada has been doing. The fact that Juna lost that pistol round when she peeked out in the open, and then also play more passively inside B behind her wall. She pushes in front of it and tucks in, knowing that they're playing against an anti-eco. There's still 2 players to support her, so just in case, they could still trade out. So very nicely done. Unchecked by Akave. At least they get to the orb and a trade, so Ivy has a showstopper to work with, but I doubt this will be used here for site entry. You just are trying to get the plant down.
Starbound does not care.
30 seconds left.
You know that they're there. A little satchel.
Wow.
Showstopper. Oh, wow, we're going to go for it. Starbound is now in the corner, but as support of the team, the showstopper is good for 1. Akave gonna have to wrap around and cut off rotations, and Adora's already ahead of the game. That was the only win condition Akave could have really hoped and coped for. Now on the post flank, and a much needed upgrade as the IGL tries to stand tall against 3. One already on the spike. Doesn't even see what's going on. To defuse halfway as Tura, just can't spam the spike diffuser. Still a solid win as Wada double the score of Akave.
Surprised, actually, that we use a showstopper to get into the site. Yes, you're forcing some players back, but you sacrificed your life. You're still in a 2 versus 3, and then you're trying to find 2 individual timings to get towards Boba from Market. The attempt was there, but once it got into the 1 versus 3, where Tura is trying to get that flank, she dropped her weapon, picks up a Vandal, even pre-fires the shot before throwing down the smoke, so she's already giving all of her position away. makes it easy for Wada to capitalize on the defuse and take the lead now by 3. And also by nullifying the showstopper, there's not too much to use it here.
Oh, Ivy just skipping away merrily right into the cage. It's neural theft. Could be on the horizon here for Tasty. But this time, Wada are not going to be within the sight. Akave gotta go in head first. Off of the clone 2 from Lied. Akave settle in. They've cleared the site, but barely have any space to work with. And at least they get the spike down early. Something they have troubled with. They had troubled with on this site. But Adora's already carving their name into Akave. At least have elbow control, but Ivy's basically alone. Dano could be just shot through the box, and Wada are kind of losing ways of getting into this site, and it's Starbound who just wants to lock eyes. But this has to be a shot that connects. And with the stack, oh man, Starbound drops the op, drops the round. Kave are not done.
Nice little walk up there. That's the type of exec that we're seeing from the side of Akave, how they're scaling up on that side. And you see a slight adjustment too of making sure they don't get picked on that left side. You saw it was going to be an easy pick by the satchel from the Rays going inside of that cage. Right here from, I think it was Adora that was placed there in the first place. But you had a nice little flash coming out from the Yoru. Doesn't allow for you to get a clean shot into the cyber cage to get a pick. And then all 5 of them stay on site, because they know that they're not playing against any big flood util in terms of ults on the side of Wada. Trying to retake with an op. Oh no, that's not good.
Oh, there's only so much holding back. All these shots from Starbound. Akave just doing the same thing, jumping in their Cypher cage, and Wada, well, they adapt and they overcome. Did get met with some force here from Akave as they hope to get their spikes safely towards their lurk of Tasty, who's been doing quite the work to get mid on watch. And the spike will go down shortly.
Camera's trying to spot middle too, while Tasty is watching towards the spawn, but all 3 of them are grouped up now, are forced to walk towards B main, just to know they don't get hurt by the cam.
Cover going out.
Now the smoke will force Wada to have to jump out together. The timing on this paranoia is everything from Tura. Quietly walking on. Starbound will teleport out. Power Pixelay holds back the flood. And that's all it takes as Wada back up. 1 round left in the half.
And that's what I was just praising Akave for the previous round, that they didn't use this round. So Starbound walks out. That corner that you have from Starbound with that TP gets so much value with the type of scale that you're trying to do here up on this side. When you're Omen TPing and Ray satcheling inside that cage and you get 0 value on space, how do you escape out of that? You're getting hit by Paranoia, you can get stunned by a Neon, you get sprayed inside the smoke, you can't even escape. So you need your Euro Flash to come through so that you could at least swing it out of that cage and fight back. It was missing, it was lacking, and they got overpowered, overrun by Wada on that defensive hold. And now Akave, last round of the half, Starbound with a Tilda Fuss to work with.
I was thinking Akave were going to lean back into Lied's Neon, but the Yuri, they want to take things easy, and, well, it's a nice vacation when you get the Nightfall out of Wada, and you get to just follow through in the footsteps, but Starbound will teleport out. Now the Nightfall ensues from the offense to go and punish Starbound. They're so frustrated. The anchor remains at the bottom, and Wada make these openers practically impossible as Akave are just jumping through hoops, getting tripped up. The spike is down, and Adora and Astralis lock in. It's an 8-4 half for Wada.
Tried to fake out towards the A side, but you're faking with the Yoru, cloning up on that side. Where's your clone now to bait out the wall? So now you're forcing yourself to run through. You're trying to find the timing to punish Starbound that misses the op. But as Tasty runs through, there's steel razor vines, and also the wall stops the push from moving forward, and all of Wada were just ready to stop that push on the side of Akave. So just as you mentioned, Lemon Kiwi, I did feel in that previous round that we were getting flustered on not being able to take any type of map control on the last few rounds of the side of Akave, that you wanted to fight with just aggression, knowing that this worked on your bind map. But now finally you're moving into a second half for Wada, where they have a comfortable lead for the first time in all of the maps that they've played so far. Gives them a chance here to push to a third.
And one thing that lacked from Wada against MIBR was, when all is said and done, you got to win your gunfights. And I'm seeing so much more of the Wada form that we saw online on the stage. And maybe it did just take that first match to get the nerves out of the way, because, you know, a lot of these players haven't seen a stage or even a crowd this big. And I mean, and also the fans are kind of favoring Akave, or at least there was one super fan out there. And we'll have our halftime break with the where the crowd will get to kind of decide what their favorite Vandal is.
Yeah, while the crowd is having a good time, I'm pretty sure that all 10 players on the stage are not having as much fun as these guys are. They definitely have to talk things through here in the second half. Remember, this is a half that could determine Akave moving into the grand finals against MIBR and Wada all their year disappearing in that instance, or Wada being able to push us into a third map and still try to stay alive. And we'll have to wait into the sidelines to see what the results would be between MIBR and Akave in the third series of today. So it is a tough LCQ to be played within this weekend. Only one spot is available and up for grabs to seize and take it to Seoul to meet up with Shopify Rebellion Gold to represent the Americas. Pressure is on now for both of these teams, but it's starting to be felt right now for the side of Akave.
All rides on this pistol if Akave can convert yet another one. Where Wada are just better with pistols when it's not the first round of a half. That's all. It's like they pull off thrifties. They get a whole win streak going off of thrifties. And for some reason, these pistols are troublesome for them. First round, anyway.
So far, just looking at how they're set up on this type of pistol, it doesn't seem they're going to be running into any type of surprises in the beginning. Leaning more on mid control at first, so it does give them a chance here to get a little bit out of their pistol round. You see Adora just running around to make some noise, trying to bait out Util, but we stay very patient from the side of Akave. I love this, because if this becomes a rewalk up, they're going to walk right into that trap. Until now, we just threw a haunt from the A side, so we gave one of our positions away here on Akave's side.
That's the trap the neon game. Probably very familiar with how to do this, and the paranoia comes out. Quick speed out from Adora. Akave grabs the orb, and Wada are not going to have too much to say about it. Starbound has been keeping a close ear on market and top mid. Now the path is set. Wada have to clear through these trips and gets Adora distracted because of the smoke. Tasty's not able to confirm the kill, but still does damage. That's enough to bring Adora almost into the grave, and now Dano will help break in as Akave hope to surround the site, and Wada were being proactive about it, but almost surprised, did not know Akave rotated that fast. Just death taxes and Akave winning pistol. I don't know what it is.
Or Wada losing theirs.
Flawless.
Yeah.
Not converting a single one so far in their LCQ stage. And yeah, I thought pressure was going to be coming in the second half, but definitely not with these reaction shots. That said, I love, even though Adora doesn't get any true value of kills, they still did an incredible job of baiting out the utility all in the first place on that A site. So it allows Astralis to call the rotate, the pivot towards B. But then as you're trying to cut the rotate, Starbound's holding towards that top with the Headhunter from the bottom mid where they could TP out. You smoke that top mid, and you kind of just block that lane, not allowing for the map that you've gained, the insert that you've gotten to really rotate across the way or get true value. So they got ran down on the flank when they were still trying to set up in the post plant. Just unfortunate there.
Tura. Always good at playing their life, especially as the IGL. You want to be involved, be as deep into the round as possible. Now gifting over the site. Very far back approach from Akave, especially with the weapons that they have.
Stealing sight.
The smokes will dissipate. Paranoia ensues. Akave begin the flood in. There's a matchup against Juna on that left link. And Juna will just be in submission as Akave were able to get some good shots into the holders within the site. And that's all it took to break this post plan of Wada. As Akave converting 4 weapons into the bonus yet again.
You get a plan, you do a little bit of damage, you're able to get into the site too. And getting information of where the players are currently playing on this A side is not too bad. It's a little silver lining on the side of Wada to bring up a much stronger buy here in this third round. We'll have to decide right now if Starbound's going to go for the Outlaw to try to go for these early picks because of these positions we found towards the A side. If we're currently playing here on the side of Akave, a little bit more passive.
That Slava is crazy. What do we say? We got a series on our hands when Akave wins pistols. Can it win them a series too? Wada. Now the rifles and no more excuses. As Starbound, there's just a lot of noise being created in mid. Akave are not going to budge.
Yeah, Akave is playing their bonus just like Bind. Just double Outlaw, watching tight angles from the pass. Really no support on middle, so what you're really trying to do is go for a pick and fall back. Starbound's walking into it.
One for Lie to get, and just the one somehow. Wow, Adora is down to 10 HP now, 0. Top mid getting pushed. The spike is getting chased by a boom bot. And the spaghetti's on the floor for Wada. This Akave have a good chance to convert this bonus, especially with the members that they have and the weapons they're able to pick up on their journey towards the top of the site. Paranoia already out from Astralis, already ahead of the game. Wants to get a surprise, catches 3, looking the other way. That could have been deadly. That could have been the round. It's up to Juna, 1 versus 2. The job's easy, job's not done, and Juna! Oh, ink to paper. The clutch for Wada.
Such an important clutch for Juna to get. A player who's working a 9 to 5 around the clock, who's tweeted 2 weeks before this tournament to happen. Hey, guys. How do I get as consistent as I can within 2 weeks? What aim training routines can I have on Aim Labs to just try to get my shots through? And despite not having strong series on her side, she's having strong impact in these clutches. That's what she needed. This is what the team needed for Wada to stay alive in this series too. And Akave going into a rifle round now with still a pretty decent round for Wada. With the round that they just won. They still have the Outlaw that they can carry over, a Guardian for Power Pixelate around all the rifles. And you're seeing for Akave, they're playing so passively on their side. So that's a lot of map control that Wada could really take into their default.
If Wada get the orb for Power Pixelate, they'll be so close to the Nightfall, and Akave don't want to take any risks, any early peek outs. Kind of just setting up the crossfire and just hoping it's gonna be enough.
I feel like the camera on top mid has spotted Starbound and they're consistently pinging it. I was gonna say that could be a perfect element of surprise for them to punish Starbound, but instead we just used a Prowler. So you'll take that free piece. It's a TP for Prowler. The Haunt's already being used as well. And now Starbound's going to call to rotate over on that side because there's not going to be too much util to stall on that end. Maybe a Season 8, maybe nothing.
Tura gets the spike down, gets recovered, and Tura couldn't kind of handle that all on their own. The rotations didn't come in to keep the spike watch, so wanted to get another chance at life at this round, and Dano, fantastic cutoffs, earns themselves the Nightfall, unleashes, and Wada are just ingrained, and Adora tries to fire back, and it'll just be up to them. Look at Akave getting fired up. They know the second half was going to be their chance to come back, and they're 3-1 on this defense so far, so it's looking good.
Just unfortunate too, with such a beautiful clutch in the previous round, scaling back into the site. The smoke missed. There's a gap here from the market. So as they're trying to cross over and get into the A site right over here, an easy pick from Dano onto Juna. And also allowing everybody to scale and pincer right after, because they're counting how many players have crossed over for the side of Wada from that gap that you have. So then it allows for them to know, okay, well, we could scale towards that back of the site. They're going to fight 2x3 on the side of the staircase. And then there's no way here for Wada to really anchor up in the post plant. 2 more rounds separating once again these two teams, but soon to be one.
And 2 dead on impact, dead on arrival, and it was just pistols. But this is where Wada can really surprise you in these thrifties. But this is Akave trying to silence them in the best way they know how. On retakes, all 3 of their round wins, Akave have been off of diffuses, off of these successful retakes. They're just trying to set up camp, and Wada like to extend out of the site, and this time they won't be punished. But they know what's coming. Now does PowerPixel go for the Nightfall? Do you really think you can handle it? 3 versus 5 on the post plan, and it's trades. But it's still Akave with the 4 rifles that they have left.
Had some good stalls coming out here from the back of the site. Tasty placing double trips, who, by the way, love to play very close trips on their setups on defense. So if the first one gets broken, there's no way they're going to find the second one. So it allows for you to get these smoke kills from the spawn and get these trap kills. But it seems as though it was well read, because you're just jumping in between both of them, and it was both broken down by Juna. But after that, you're looking at the stall from after. Even though they get the plant down, they've wasted so much time on the side of Wada to get the plant, so that Akave already had all 5 players at the ready to run back into this A site. So 1 round, as we mentioned before, an easy anti-eco from the side of Akave to convert. And finally, a timeout being called by King Fred. The first one here for Wada being utilized, where this could definitely be the pivot round for Wada here. They got that plant. Not too sure how many players are far away from ults right now, but at least you have Econ on your side, and for a way to depict the map here with the space that's given away by Akave in the very first place. I think there's some gaps right now they could try to push forward, because as Starbound is continuously playing towards this pillar and trying to watch for that cross, they see nothing. And as his door never gets closed, they could start pressuring towards this market side and move up on mid and break the Cypher camera and work into the mid round from there. Or they could just all out go for a split into the B site and overtake the market if that door never gets closed.
And even with the Nightfall, I think that was conserved there from Wada, which at what point do you want to use it? Do you use it just to get into the site, and off of what information? It's all on PowerPixel, who has had a really fantastic map, but that lead may just slip away. That's why the coaches got to call this. It's an important round for Wada, and the op is involved here for Starbound.
There you go.
Oh, that's all it takes. Finally, Starbound meets a friendly neighbor. They've been just camped out in mid, waiting for anyone to peek, and barely anyone has, just because of that camera you talked about.
Exactly, and forced a hand, right? So they haven't seen any pressure coming in from markets at our top mid. So this time, the TP set a different spot, walk up tiles, try to get the early pick into top middle. Camera's placed at a different spot, but unfortunately here with the lurk, already given up that spot. Not too sure into the walk in on B when you're gonna have a player's advantage. But hey, man, they still have a 4 versus 4 at least for Wada, and map control on the A side, because we're still playing it passively on their end.
And this dimensional drift was used so early and without the right read that Wada were at B main. They just saw Juna, that was the lurk. He didn't even get to see where the full push is going for Wada. The judge will still be at the corner, at the door, and Wada have the Nightfall to use. Will it make contact though with Lyde?
Face your fear!
At this point, oh, it does not. Lyde has a big chance to put Wada into the ground. Now try to play anti-flash. The judge is still screaming, but the jury is out, and Wada have still have lives left to play with. And Akave have them exactly where they want them. The smoke placed, disrespected from Akave, off the boombot. Chaos! The boombot in the face of Starbound! And Akave, yet another retake that Wada cannot suppress.
Too much respect given there to the Yoru on that round, because I still love the call to move back towards B. I'm pretty sure some of these players down towards that bottom mid got the blue hue, and then they're like, okay, well, it's on us. They're trying to find information towards middle. They're thinking that we're leading towards this A site. And it worked perfectly because everybody over-rotated from Akave once again on these defensive rounds. And then you're moving into this A site. Where's the trade onto this one when you already stalled towards that front of the site? So you were too afraid of the judge. You didn't want to disrespect the position here that was being played. And then they're still able to get 2 big picks from Lyde in that very corner with the judge. Not give a chance for Wada to set up, and now we're in a tied game.
Feeling like a repeat of Bind of Wada ending the first half in a lead, and that's starting to slip away. And off the Nightfall, not touching that judge, and everything falling apart from there like dominoes. It's a big moment for Lai to get back in the scoreboard too. And Wada will have to try and pull off a thrifty, which at least they're known for, but no one's even gonna peek at them.
Teleport's ready.
Has to come down to Starbound here because we talked about such an important swing round in the previous one with the ults, and now just instantly punished.
Someone has to be sacrificed for the information, right? Now you have Prowlers coming out of Market. Wada feel stuck, they feel trapped. They have Juna at least at the top of the site. And the angles are watched, but Akave shown a mastery of retakes. And Ivy, the showstopper, the double kill! Oh, and that's what's breaking Wada down. It's not able to be confident to leave the base once the spike is down, and with the pistols, of course, it wasn't gonna help. What a showstopper from Ivy, too.
At least you'll take it for the side of Wada, because you forced that out when you had an eco on your side. Just a total false available for Starbound to try to get the entry. Again, a lot resting on their shoulders. Nice little tap through the wall to get that pick in the first place. And that with a seize too, so they tried to do that on their attack side for Akave, and this time it works out well. Good combination once again coming through. This time value off the showstopper, but Akave is now taking the lead in the series. You can see how much losing these pistol rounds for the side of Wada is hurting them overall in this series. Always having to play a comeback. Only taking one round on the attack side so far.
And he only took 2 on Mind. So Wada, it's definitely tougher to play that chamber on the attack. Especially when your ult round just falls apart that quickly. But now you get your Neon all juiced up. And Adore just gets shot in the face by an op. She even got to go on an adventure. At least she took one down with her. And now Akave, the retake. That's like the good old days. Just clocking in. But it's Wada trying to keep their distance, not playing as close. Astralis reinserts at the corner. Paranoia somehow doesn't connect, but at least Tasty does! And it's just a bait for Astralis. Finally, a post plan in Wada's favor.
Man, you're going to take that any day of how lucky you were when you TP'd across, because I'm pretty sure Astralis even TP'd across the Paranoia, so it doesn't hit her. So they missed the timing on that side from the foot through the smoke that's being thrown here on the attack. But then at the same time, you get the backstab from Astralis to get a nice little tap on the first one and a flick into the smoke for the second. That potentially here could save the round for Wada. Save this map for Wada as well. Couple more rounds on the side of Akave. That is the dreams, hopes gone for Wada. The only unsigned team in this tournament in the LCQ, and potentially the only unsigned team going into champs if they make it through. I've been looking for an organization to sign them since the beginning of this year, and unfortunately hasn't had a chance yet. They've been doing this solo. They've made it this far, and hopefully it doesn't end now for the players in the server as they're struggling and fighting hard to try to push this onto Haven.
Dimensional drift relied along with the op. Wada, so much more is demanded of them when that was only their second round that they've won on the attack. Now to get Adora fully supported, as even with the ult, the overdrive, Adora was still traded out. Akave has a lot of experience in playing against attacking Neons. You see that Wada. Don't just let loose. The power pixelay gone is gonna be a killer. Fantastic shot from Live. We'll continue to watch that elbow. Wada have a chance. They push to the left side. Astralis with the spike is up to no good. And Juna will lead them. And ahead of that chase is Tura, who teleports over using the ult. This forces Wada in such an uncomfortable position, and now to re-clear back towards A.
They have the advantage because Starbound's inserted towards the elbow. So as you're trying to run through, you got to check towards that spawn. At least you cut the rotate. And there you go. Dono finally gets picked off. This is an easy plant. They know the last one TP towards B for Tura. So this is going to be a weapon save. Again, taking advantage of middle for Wada worked out on their side. The passive anchoring plays from Tasty allows for players to move up towards shop. And then the passive play towards middle allows Juna to get value onto the left side. So they pincer over on the top site or the top middle, and there's nothing that Akave could do. Ankles broken on both ends of this map, and Wada regain the lead.
Just like that, Wada on these attacks are also spreading out more. They're trying to get into Akave's face before they get settled in. Like what Juna and Astralis did at A-Link, like just being so aggressive even with the spike. That was a big risk, but that's the type of plays Wada need to do to try and get to map 3. And that was second round in a row. They may have just found the secret sauce to make this attack work.
They definitely need these type of plays. I mean, you have to make this noise to allow Juna to get these type of timings on top middle. And then she just had to win that fight against Tasty, and she did. Tasty has been phenomenal in this series so far, especially on that first map that we've witnessed on Bind. Maybe not putting the huge numbers up, but definitely playing their part as the Waylay, creating the space, and also opting and holding their angles whenever they did, but they never really found too much action towards that second half. This time around, though, as a Cypher player, still made it very difficult here for Wada to find their footing in this game. But finally getting punished, allowing Wada some room to breathe.
That's what it's going to be about. Because if Wada get away with a map 2 win without winning any pistols, that would really surprise us all. The Akave are the ones that have won more rounds in this second half. You just have to crunch down and kind of just be more aware that Wada are getting more aggressive on the post plant. They're not huddling down anymore. So Akave will be extra cautious going forward, especially traveling through these smokes. Don't overly trust those smokes either. Dimensional drift will be part of this too.
Potentially, yeah. You already see the TP moving down as well. They might want to try to get aggressive with the info that they want to take at the beginning of this round. So you TP towards the front to find the front B side. You go into the crawl on middle to see if there's anybody else on that side too. And it allows for Akave to get at least early information of what they can do here towards this site.
Oh, Light had the good idea at the beginning, but the hit was actually at B.
No,
And Tasty just has a sheriff, and Light somehow ends up getting shot by an op. Oh, jeez. Akave, the finish line was right there. But the retakes are Akave's bread and butter. And Tasty's gonna need support. Boombot and Prowler clearing through the top, but is Adora gonna get checked? The Prowler just sails right past them. Adora with an opening, creating gaps in the bodies of Akave. We're gonna be looking at match point quite soon. And why did I get to play from main out? There's no smokes in the way. Really, no one stands in their way except her. And the angle on this teleport. But Starbound with 2 picks that round with the op is the win condition for Wada.
You're gonna thank the heavens right now for Wada to decide to walk contact in front of B main instead of making noise in the first place. If they added any type of noise into the walk-in, I mean, that what can you really do? the clone comes out in the open, so you kind of already know it was a fake, and then it was just an easy shot for Starbound. But that said, if noise was being created towards our front B site, you definitely know that the pathing for the ult on the side of Lied would have gone front B before TPing to get the info. But by staying quiet, it allows Wada to take the lead and be at map point.
Map 3 on the horizon. Starbound. So many of those first kills. I think 5 of them on bind. Continues to be reckless as Wada set up for A. With how much time they have, Akave have to be cautious with every step they take. Could be a Wada member around the corner. Akave are taking their time to inspect. Important duel here for Tura against Adora coming up. As more trying to set up smokes and util for the other duo to push through. And Adora's attention gets summoned back on the site. And Akave still have to clear in to the objective. And Ivy be the first to take a peek off of the blind. Confirm the kills, but Starbound just had to delay a little longer and can't. Just at the last second, Akave successfully retake.
That was such an important flash by Tura too, thrown from the shops right into the default spot. If Adora wasn't hit by that flash, that was a free kill for the players moving through. Get your one. They did an incredible job for Wada to pincer the way that they did into the A site. Again, disrespecting the gaps that are being left around the anchoring spots of Akave, who's been playing quite turtled up for so many of these rounds on the defensive side. And they found their footing, at least for Wada's side. This is a tough call for King Fred. I don't think you called the timeout here because you still have a pretty strong hold and grasp of how they're playing the defense, and you don't want to give them a chance right now to retalk in their last round of regulation. So a smart call. It comes down to the IGLing of Wada.
Oh, the Prowler sets IV up. Showstopper ends it. And Wada will have to try and steal this away in extra rounds, in extra innings. Akave, an explosive start now. Settle down and let Wada make their next move.
Wada should have been ready, rather. This is the first time that they throw a defensive smoke so aggressively at the staircase. Got to be ready for those type of hits. 3 of them getting surprised, and now all the utils showing where the last 2 players are at, and it's only Starbound now in a 1v4.
Brilliant from Line. Now the spike will be in sight. Go hunting for the last. We go to overtime to decide. We're going into a map 3. Or will this be the end of Wada? After how hard they fought, even through the second series, after a heartbreaking and humbling loss against MIBR. It's a long day, but this is a marathon, not a sprint.
And they're gonna have to start at least picking up the pace for Wada, because if they keep walking right now, they're not crossing this finish line. They're not going to be able to see the 3rd map, and a dream's going to end here, and Akave will secure a spot in the grand finals against MIBR tomorrow. And that matchup still has to be played after this series, so we still have a lot of Valorant to continue onto this main channel for today. OT now coming through. Akave back on the attack. Starbound looking for a pick on B.
Let's see what the move will be. The Prowler always first for Akave, forced to teleport. Now picking up the pace. Akave want to take up that real estate. There is some buys util, and Akave have to take their time with that. But teleporting in, Tura wants to get ahead of the game. Pressures are already market. Takes damage as a result, but it's enough to at least create some safety for the objective to go down. But Wada have their pieces in position. They shut down the flank or the lurk from Akave. Now Wada can just depend on flashes from Juna, the paranoia from Astralis. The line though gets nothing as Akave just play from main. There's no smokes that will hinder them. And now Ivy and Tura just get to lock in. Now they have to get eyes though on the spike. They'll be forced into a fight on Wada's terms. Now it's a mental game to defuse halfway. The spam is not on the spike, and Wada match point.
Oh, huge hill coming up by Juna, and then also a great play by her once again. They've done this before for the past, this type of hit and scaling from Akave into the B site to push Starbound away, trying to get the clone out into the main, but it gets shot, it gets denied right again, and they're not able to break up that wall. And that slows down the tempo, slows down the possibility of Akave of flooding into the sites, allowing Wada to be set up, identifying these lurks, these flanks, and then retaking the way that he did on a 3 versus 2. So Juna, great utility on the stalls, being impactful when she's needed here in these rounds for Wada. Not now on the attack side, glass cannon for Starbound, back into the control of middle, but it's smoked out at the beginning here for the attack side, so that's going to slow things down for a bit. And another time here where we get the smoke towards the staircase and Juna gets punished.
That was just spam to get Ivy the orb and Wada fall for the trick. Now they'll have to come up with another plan. Now the paranoia just to keep top mid suppressed, but without a smoke. Lied will be a threat at the top. And it's an op. A glass cannon one. And Wada pulled off a defensive win. But offense is where they really suffered before.
Just going to do the same thing now. Try to make noise on the side. Hopefully Starbound can catch a rotate on the top middle. But as they're all grouping up, you're going to have to try to go for this util on this B side, especially now that the haunt missed. They could group up and really go for a full explosion into this B side and catch some players off guard, but unfortunately that upshot misses. That's going to change the tempo.
Could be inconsistent, but there's still a chance to shine for Wada when Adora is the tip of the spear. Oh, he just isolate the fights! A double kill and Akave have met their match as the numbers have been even. And Wada, I know where this hit is coming from. The camera can't be used. Akave to play against the clock too, the nade, and Adora learns, gets away with the 3K, doesn't even need the ace. Wada will encounter them again in map 3.
And such a huge round for the sub coming in, replacing Arya on this stage. The one standing up right now, Adora, a big 4K into the round. Remember, they're walking into that round of 3 versus 5. And Adora was able to open it up solo on the execution after the upshot missed by Starbound. And they